We have a new member.
I'll say.
All right. Good evening. I now call to order the regular meeting of the Diversity Commission for July 15th, 2025. Welcome, commissioners. Layout, may we have the roll call, please?
Aurora,
Here.
Bonko is absent, Noonan.
Here.
Jean.
Here.
Pilar.
Here.
Oxley is absent, Wing Fu is absent, Sprott.
Here. I want to start with an announcement related to one of the absences. Unfortunately, we received the resignation of Commissioner Jana Thompson this afternoon. She's managing personal matters. She expressed her apologies to the commission for having to leave on such abrupt notice. We'll take a minute to sort of celebrate her at the end, but just wanted to put that in mind at the front of things because I imagine there are things in the agenda we'll need to work through that have been tasked to her at this point. So we'll say more towards the end, but wanted to note that right up front. The public is welcome at this time to address the commission on items not listed on the agenda, but within the commission's scope. There will be an opportunity to comment on other agenda items at the time they are discussed. To make a public comment, please fill out the public comment card and give it to the staff liaison. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Please note that the commission is not able to engage in discussion with speakers. The commission may only accept comments into the record for consideration due to Brown Act laws. Do we have any public comments? All right. I'll now close public comment and move on to item 4, approve the June 17th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. Commissioners, please take time to review the minutes if you have not done so while we wait for commenters on this item. I'll now open public comment on this item to approve the June 17th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. To make a comment on this item, please fill out and hand a public comment card to the staff liaison. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Do you have any public comment cards?
No.
Right. I'll now close public comment and bring it back to the commission. Please look up when you've had a chance to review. I know we did a lot, so no rush. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve the minutes of June 17th? Second by Lloyd. For the commission is a motion to approve the minutes of June 17th. There we have the ayes. Ayes.
Same doesn't care.
Okay, one abstain. Motion does not pass. We will re-raise it at the next one.
Sorry.
We will move on to item 5, community feedback, where input from the public can be discussed. A member of the public named Kavya Nehasankar completed the Everyone Belongs pledge and was sent a certificate. Also, council member a member of the public named Kavya Nehasankar completed the Everyone Belongs pledge and was sent a certificate. Good. Council member Sakach forwarded feedback from the Pride celebration to the Diversity Commission, which will be shared during the next item on the agenda. Did anyone else receive additional community correspondence to share?
Did we get the email from the Parks and Rec, or is that for later in the agenda?
Yes, to both. So that's up to you all. So
Is it about next year's Pride?
no, it's the invitation. Multicultural.
Oh yes, we've got that coming up.
Oh, it's on here. Okay, I see it.
Yeah, we'll take that up.
But you're correct, right?
And Lionel or person, should I share student feedback later?
Yeah, because
Okay.
we'll debrief Juneteenth
Okay, great.
very shortly.
In fact, now.
Unless there's any other community feedback. Okay, then moving on to item 6, review of the Diversity Commission calendar. We will do our normal calendaring at the end, but first we will start with an event debrief, beginning with Juneteenth. What do you notice?
Okay, Juneteenth debrief. So this is just a little information that we received from Jeff that we can talk about now as a group. Per Unique to Read, we've kind of talked about this. Don't have the first performer perform right at 5 o'clock because we want to give folks a little bit more time to arrive. So he suggested maybe 5:15 or 5:30. Have Trevor make an announcement of what's happening here. Move the start time of the band up, possibly 6 to 8, but we'll impede performance, so we might have to adjust that a little bit. Taking into consideration Princess Diana, et cetera, et cetera.
Is that driven by seeing attendance drop after it?
Yeah.
People started going home?
Yeah.
A lot of people started going home like 7:30, like, yeah, once the family stuff ended.
Yeah.
Good to know.
But it was great.
And I think we had actually seen, or we waited a little bit too late to see if we could actually move them up a little bit, but their schedule wouldn't allow it, which is. More canopies. It's very windy. More sandbags, stronger tents.
Control the elements, avoid.
I mean, I don't know. There were a lot of things that were flying, so like regardless of tents or, I mean, papers and flyers and everything. I don't know. It's tough. I think we had the same issue the previous year as well. Hopefully we didn't have as many flyaway tents, and there's at least one. So
One major flight, no major injuries.
yeah, correct. So just something to think about in the future. Potentially have a temporary disabled parking sign and saw a lot of vehicles with disabled placards circling around. This was a question. While it seemed popular, does the fire truck add anything to the event? Unfortunately, a member who was the closest in touch with the fire department, they're not able to attend. But yeah, I don't know.
The Jeff's question to us was, did the fire truck add anything to the event? I don't know, did kids go over there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there was a lot to visit and do and participate in.
Yeah, I mean, I think for some families, that's the draw. You came,
Yeah.
at least in part, because your kids could go see a fire truck.
Yeah. Did it cost anything? Did it cost anything?
And I know they had the gentleman who was kind of writing information, maybe recruiting-ish.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Lisa, right there.
yeah, so. In prepping for potential weather issues, would it make sense to use a community room as a backup plan for some crafts that were getting affected by the wind?
Sure.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, it doesn't make no sense, but two, how do you allocate that?
Right.
When do you make that call? And then how do you drive traffic over here? We're trying to keep people
Or do
over
we,
by the events.
or do we encourage people to have whatever type of materials that are wind resistant, whatever that looks like? I mean, face painting didn't seem to have any issues. Some of the other things. So just something to think
Will
about.
animals will come?
Yeah.
I mean, we could also, try to be environmentally friendly too and say like, we're gonna go paper free,
Yeah.
like use QR codes.
I think
Anyone
that,
have fire problem?
I think the activity that was most affected by the wind was the quilt. And it was, the quilt was made with paper, and everyone who was sitting to, make their square, that was, where it was flying. It was such a beautiful project. Like, I hate to think of, killing that one in the name of sustainability, because it does have such a beautiful outcome, but,
Or do we offer, we let people who are planning to do these things, we essentially say we've got one space. And then in the meeting before that, we rack and stack as a community and say, we're picking who gets an indoor spot.
Yeah,
Put your name in the ring, give us your pitch as to why it needs to be indoors, and then we'll accommodate one.
Well, if you line the tables up here instead of the grass, then the traffic comes through here.
I mean, that's true. A lot more protection from the wind, and you get people moving a little bit more so. Will people, I guess the other question is, will you lose visibility because everyone is like at the food area? So I don't know.
Yeah, and the food vendors worry they're losing customers, because we put the attractions away from them.
Yeah, so.
But the band, I mean, the band starts early. I don't know. It's all like I think it's a great event and there's a lot of things we could do differently, but you have incredible turnout and there's a lot of community partnerships. So it's a lot of, I hope there's some good notes in that.
Oh, yeah, well, we're not finished yet. Would it make sense to create an online spreadsheet of crafts so all groups can coordinate on what they plan to do, eliminate duplication of efforts? Helpful. If the event is held in conjunction with Off the Grid next year, have the speeches be over where Unique Jury performs, so there's there's a built-in crowd. So that's, yeah, we could get into that as well. Other things, just kind of thinking through everything before I, I thought, Unique Jury, once again, he was amazing. Obviously had a great crowd, provided wonderful information, so I think that went well. I think the Princess went well. I saw that worked out. The drums, although they probably could have had more traffic, but it seemed like I think folks enjoyed it. And
We
people
should
did
definitely
go over there.
invite them again. I loved them, but they were great. Yeah.
Cool. I think the band was amazing.
Where-
I them again, so they were really good. Adora and Pavia, thank you. And I think it was a really nice kind of last minute ad with Mark Desmonier's office, and that was really neat. I think the proclamation, like all of that, I think that worked out well. Off the Grid, I didn't get over to the food, but it seems like there was a good mix of different food vendors, people really enjoying and everything like that. I think that all worked out well. Just as far as like placement of the tents and communities, we could probably, tweak that a little bit more so, but making sure that, maybe there's a more specific effort for, some of the larger paid sponsors to have a little bit more exposure perhaps. But I think it'll work out pretty fine. What else am I missing? I don't think trash was an issue. That seemed to work out just fine. What am I missing? Oh, sorry. Double the number of sandbags, like we're
Or we could, if it's not hot, we could think about,
Double the number of.
we could think about not having tents.
We're not having tents,
Yeah.
or maybe people bring their own tents.
Yes.
Something like
Maybe if it's
Except for the
something like
80.
over 80 or something.
maybe we could.
It's so hard because on a different summer day, like,
Yeah, if it's 90, you need them, right?
Yeah.
We didn't I don't think we needed them.
no, they just served as a good to help people get to their spot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I also feel like tents serve a little bit of a signal to the public too. I have the sense, and no data to back it at all, but just thinking about my own personal experience, if I'm looking at something to go to, I'm probably gonna be drawn to something that has a tent and a table rather than just a table.
For the Pride event, and I know we can table, Pride later, but we did invite everyone to bring their own tents. And that worked out pretty well, aside from one table that didn't think they needed one, and then we're stuck in the sun. And we tried to help them with a city provided one, but it was broken, so that was kind of messy. But I think aside from that, it worked out really well that everyone brought their own table and their own tent and their own chairs. That was pretty clean, less, clean up at the end for the tournaments.
Maybe we could even like set them up through here, where you have natural.
Well, that was also a piece of feedback that we can get
Oh.
to, was that, we got it from two different people, was the path is very, hard for handicapped people to navigate, which was preventing some people who were in wheelchairs from getting to every, booth. So I do think that even though we didn't receive that feedback for Juneteenth, that's something we should also take into consideration. But I wasn't thinking of what you brought up, Carson, around the food truck flow. I wonder if that would mess up their business, but I think it's something we should discuss for next year.
One thing we learned the first year, that if you have anything with bubbles, it has to be on the grass.
Bubble?
Oh.
Yes, because they like spilled it everywhere and then we have like people slipping.
There's an issue too.
Yeah. But other than that, I think this will be fun.
Yeah, we'll
Hey,
run
bubbles
run that
are-
by Jeff for sure.
Yeah.
And then maybe if we think about it enough time too, we could ask our stakeholders what they think about do they want to move here.
Yeah.
This is just deciding.
Mhm.
Okay. Do we, how did numbers and sponsorship dollars and did everything get kind of taken care of, and do we make our make sure we had the majority of our funding come in and everything like that?
There was one group, or did you want to share that, or not sure? There's one group who ended up backing out their pledge, if you will. And theirs was $1,000 donations. That was a tough hit. And then we're still waiting on $1,500. So one $1,000 sponsor, $500 sponsor, but both of them have, the representatives have been communicative. Like one is like, I finally found it in the visor of my car. I love to work with it, that kind of thing. So,
Do we get a rationale for why somebody backed out?
she said, why?
Was kind of
And if it was something you did, Lloyd, you don't have to say.
no,
Right
basically.
in front of him.
I think this vendor, like they were early on, they were clear that they were interested in supporting, and that's where and it was early on in the process. And then, for some reason, there was some, I guess, miscommunication, whatever the case may be. And so, but they didn't communicate that they backed out. And so then they decided that they had to back out,
Okay.
even though they had committed earlier.
Do we have enough in our budget to cover that?
Yeah, you all are okay because what's weird about the timing is that our fiscal cycle ends the end of June. And so some of your charges didn't hit by the end of June. So, what hit, there was money for, and then what's hitting after.
Leading into next year's budget.
Yeah, so it's kind of a happy coincidence.
Okay, that's good. Do you, the city, thank you notes to all the vendors and sponsors and everything? How do we go about that process?
So there currently is no such process, so you all would decide and
Okay.
here to take notes on it. And then I did give you on your furthest right a list of topics.
Okay.
Mayor, it's your choice to discuss as part of the feedback. Like it could either happen now while it's fresh in your minds, or it could happen when the next Juneteenth subcommittee is, starting to plan.
Could we just briefly go through these
I
Pennsylvania.
said, what of these have we not covered?
Yeah, because we talked about band.
I mean, but so respectfully, it was more like, oh yeah, that was good. Oh yeah, that was good. But
Oh, okay.
what I'm like the band, are you actually wanting to retain them again?
Oh, we can't do that in this, we need to dissolve the subcommittee and that needs to be discussed by the next subcommittee.
Oh,
Those would be appropriate.
Okay, would the band need to start at a different time? It ended later. By the time it ended, there was hardly anybody around to hear them, and yet people were giving them crazy accolades. So would you want the community to be able to hear them, the majority?
I do think that like whoever is on the subcommittee for next year needs to be
Yeah.
leading this, but I think we have to collect these notes
Document the feedback is, I think.
and then
is
like
the
make
big
sure they
thing.
start.
mhm.
But yeah, like there, I think we would suggest moving it earlier and keeping the ban, but that's, there are strong feelings otherwise from the committee.
No,
members.
it's, we want families out here. It's a family
Yeah.
event.
Mhm.
It's not a late night rock concert.
Yeah,
Maybe the present subcommittee can write a written kind of recommendation for the next subcommittee to consider as their.
I think that would be a great idea, and if Fiona is open to it, I know she's not here. She has so much institutional knowledge in this. I think it would be great if we could ask her to document like how she's approached the organization, because she did come in and swoop in and help with a lot of things that I did not know how to do. Happy to ask her.
yeah,
You could certainly reach out when you're.
Yeah,
okay.
Event plan recommendation document.
yeah, I think that would be wise.
So band organization that tabled, I think I'll,
Did anything stand out as inappropriate or ineffective or unhappy with the organizations that tabled?
No, I think the accessibility.
Mhm.
and just like I mentioned, as far as location, making sure that everyone has the, kind of what that access, like visibility kind of points.
Mhm.
I mean, there were also, sorry, so with the band, this was a year where you all also paid an additional $300, right? As a, what was it for the recommendation of the band? I'm
It
underselling,
was
but.
basically, the,
Management fee.
yeah, the management fee. I mean, he got the band first, which,
Got it. And so I don't know if that's something that the commission cares to add in the considerations, or like with the organizations that tabled, or excuse me, the Pleasant Hill Commission booth. There was a request made this year for them to give recommendations of musicians, and then when they did, it wasn't actually needed by the commission. But there was a whole effort made by those commissions, right? They agendized it so they could talk about it and all that kind of stuff. And then when they got through their liaison to then make the recommendation, it wasn't even a thing that was neat, just those
Yeah.
kinds of things that can be discussed. And this was the first time you all invited commissions to have tables. What was that like? Was it what you envisioned? All those kinds of things.
Are you sure it's the first time? I feel like we invited them before.
The, there was a request or an invitation to volunteer last year,
I
and
remember
some showed up.
the first year we asked if they wanted a table and everyone said no.
Oh.
So I remember we asked, if anybody wanted to participate.
So then,
Yeah,
there's definitely some feedback to put in there, right? Like that you all have shifted or grown, it's become more known or something, that you've gone from getting no's to getting multiple organizations.
yeah. I mean, we had like a couple people volunteer, but, yeah, not a commission. And then we had, someone on what's the one that you were on?
Action Commission.
Like donated all the supplies for the bubble table. I remember that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that, which is
Yeah.
where the
And then
pavement.
set up. I think it's overall like the organizations who participated.
Agree.
The Pleasant Hill Commission booth, I think that was.
Yeah.
Just having that exposure and, you know, just kind of talking about like, you know, that. Making sure that we're not doubling efforts and things like that. I think
The,
that's-
what's it called? Scavenger hunt was a hit again.
Yeah.
I would do that again.
I just like to note, I sent a text to the group that there was some miscommunication on social
Oh,
media.
yeah.
From different groups, the Parks and Recs
Oh,
social media was
Yeah.
posting about the event, the Juneteenth event, and on their socials, it said that the event was being hosted by the Civic Action Committee. And so just having clear, whatever communication comes through should come through our commission as giving that to other people that are promoting the event, so there's no miscommunication in the event. Logistics as well, there were timings that were off on one flyer that I noticed as well from Parks and Rec. So I'm not sure who was communicating with whom and how they got that information.
and I'm not exactly sure.
I think coordinating with them, but I wasn't.
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure.
wasn't included.
Cause I know Rec and Park, it's like, they're not part of the city. So.
Yeah, it's a good flag because I
Yeah.
didn't see it.
Experience for diversity commissioners.
Good.
Oh, staff, anything that's in particular from your side of things like?
I mean, sure, I definitely think that the event is growing significantly. It has to be a subcommittee so that, you know, the work can keep going on the off, you know, not just once a month, but it definitely seems like 4 people could, 4 people, the event could afford to have 4 people versus me saying 4 people could afford to be on it, because I think, you know, people are at capacity, plus we're slim in numbers.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's becoming an it event, you know, which bravo to each of you, but yeah, I definitely would say if it's possible.
and I agree.
Mhm.
Any other specific community feedback besides for these notes?
May I ask a question?
Please.
In terms of folks that sponsored and gave donations and things of that nature, I think I heard you saying that there wasn't a protocol for acknowledgement letters or receipts or something of that sort. That kind of affects retention. Sorry, I've got my donor hat
Yeah,
on right
please, no,
now, right?
absolutely.
So like, if we're trying to retain our
Mhm.
sponsors and cultivate them and steward them, then we need to put some practices in place, which should include thank you acknowledgement letters and maybe a call from one or, you know, we can divide up people who are calling and acknowledging and thanking them. But seeing that one person dropped off now, that's $1,000 gap in our next budget year, and it's the start of a new fiscal year. So I also recommend that in our next session or two, we look at the coming budget for the year and see, you know, if we are gonna start working on it as a subcommittee and starting early, then, you know, this is a way of a fundraiser for us and bringing in not just money for the Juneteenth event, but for other possible events that we haven't been able to do because of a money shortage. That's just a seed that I wanted to plant because there's a lot of potential amongst us as a community for businesses that can't support if we steward them in the right way.
So I know, we're in a new fiscal year and I guess we have to technically dissolve the current, well, last year's subcommittee. So, but we still need to make sure we get our thank you notes out.
I'll help with that.
So maybe we can.
Yeah,
And yeah, I think you've got a couple options. One, even though the subcommittee would dissolve, members of the commission writ large could continue to work the project. Or I think it would also be appropriate, should we stand up a new subcommittee as part of a retention effort, there would be no issue with the new subcommittee working last year's letters. because it would be in support of retaining donors.
Do you have to dissolve it? Can you just keep it? going?
Yeah, because by definition, subcommittees are, I mean, they're called ad hoc subcommittees. They're for a limited purpose. They're time limited.
Is the city considered a nonprofit? No.
Are we entering the fiscal year 25 right now or 26? 26, okay.
25 pesos, yeah. Which makes it easier to do the thank you notes, because you don't need the taxi ID number and the nonprofit language in the letter, so it
Because
doesn't have to be
it's-
as legal as like.
It's just a sponsorship, so
Yeah.
it's just that's a thank you, just a legal thank you. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Donor experience, I don't know if we heard anything from specific donors per se. I feel like folks were happy, but I don't have any specifically. I mean, I went around and thanked everyone, but
Are these donors sponsors or like individual donors at the event that are just community people?
sponsor specific, well, actually, sorry, both. So folks who were either committee members or who were hosting a booth, and also folks who donated money and had a booth within that donation. So
At one point, we were having a conversation about doing QR codes or like something for donations. I don't know if that came into fruition.
we did not.
What about more of like the public thank you, like putting a debrief on Outlook or something? Like,
Oh, yeah.
a report
We do
from
have
the
a lot
day.
of photos that are really great. And we
That
could
would
do
be
like a recap of June. We had the 2 events.
Thank all our sponsors again. That would be a perfect.
Yeah.
The people who
Thank all our
participated.
sponsors.
And then if you're interested in next year's event, email.
Exactly, we're taking this for this, and we could even say something like, you know, our sponsorship opportunities are filling up fast.
Yeah, absolutely do that. Maybe both on Outlook and socials, I think,
Mhm.
traction lots more.
And if there's not room in the Outlook, there's that bi-weekly email.
Yeah, and Lyon had a great idea, as we were talking about, you know, these events, just creating a way to educate community members if they want to do an event like this, like if they are interested in organizing a Pride event, or if they're interested in organizing something that we could help support. Like, I think a lot of private community members don't know that they have the option to organize something like that, and this could be time to say thank you, encourage sponsorship, and educate the community and like how they can create events on their own if they're so moved.
That could be a good topic for community conversations.
Ooh,
Too. Maybe
good
just
idea.
education around that.
Mhm. Okay, great. Overall costs, I mean, you know, sounds like we paid for it, which is good. So, rentals, yeah, I mean, we just need to,
What did we rent?
we rented tents, we rented tables, we rented chairs.
Those long tables were rented,
We did,
those are struggling.
Those are true.
yeah. I guess the other question is like, two things with the long tables, 6 foot or 8 foot. So I don't know, you know, but just it's some of the quality of some of the things were kind of, yeah. And then once again, the tents, like the city tents, I think for the most part, I think there might have been one issue, but I think they lasted. We, you know, more sandbags to get it. I don't know. I feel like the tents that we rented were still very. I mean, they were kind of slim. Just something. But maybe we don't. Maybe people bring their own tents, so it's not an issue. So
Yeah.
we can have that conversation. Yeah. Yeah. Then as far as the next year's date, we can still talk about, but if we're gonna do Friday, June 19th, because we can't do Thursday, I assume that Off the Grid is going to still be on Thursdays unless I change it. I know the city wasn't the deal that we made with the leasing company that we would have, we would not do something on that Thursday. So we could either have a Wednesday event, we could have a Friday event. If we have a Friday event, then Off the Grid wouldn't be participating, correct? As a general, because Vestar is doing their own thing.
I think it would be an invitation from you all, so it might not be their regular date, like they would need to decide, let's say they do Thursdays again. They would need to decide if they want to do Thursdays and Fridays, or if they want to move their food truck date to a Friday.
Would,
I
oh,
don't
go ahead,
understand,
sorry.
so they don't wanna partner with us, right?
No, that's not it. So Vestar, they typically they have a few dates during the summer that were Thursdays where they have their own concert series. And we made a agreement with them this year that they would adjust theirs and they had their event on Friday instead, but the following year they would go back where they would have their Thursday event. And that's minus Off the Grid, correct?
Well, so there's two separate entities. Off the Grid is completely separate from Vestar. Vestar being, as you mentioned, the downtown district property management. And that's who has their own concerts that Lloyd was referring to. And they were concerned that this would take away from business in the downtown area. So then completely separately, but coincidentally, mutually exclusive, I guess, Off the Grid will most likely, though, you know, if they haven't yet, enter a contract, have another special event permit to do their seasonal food trucks. And it could be on Thursdays, like they were Wednesdays, and this year they chose Thursdays. So there's a chance, if this has been successful again. But what I hear you saying is that Juneteenth is a Friday next year. So if it turns out that Vestar does their food trucks on Thursday, and because there's been a commitment made to not hold Juneteenth celebration on Thursday for Vestar, the downtown property management, how do you all want to?
So we probably have
That's
to,
tough, because that's one of the reasons that we have such a big crowd is because it's on the night that Off the Grid is. So if you do it on a separate night, you're gonna lose half your crowd.
now, with that being said, we were gonna lose that date anyway, because they weren't gonna be able to have Off the Grid on that Thursday.
Oh, so Off the Grid would have to move anyway?
So we would probably have to work with Off the Grid to have a special event on Friday anyway. Correct?
Which I know they tour many different cities, right? And so we probably would need to give them a date sooner than later of what we're planning to do.
So, but we have a nice relationship with Danielle.
Yeah, she's great.
From Off the Grid, so I think as long as we gave plenty of notice, we could probably work that out. There is also there's another food truck organizer as well, that worst case scenario we could work with. But I'd rather work with Off the Grid if possible, just because we've had such a nice relationship with them. Anything else? Okay, we'll talk and we can put some more notes together and work on thank you notes, et cetera, et cetera. Okay.
Nicely done, guys.
Yeah,
Great
yeah,
event.
so good.
Thank you, everyone.
So Pride event, you saw the feedback that Lyon printed for everyone to review. I think overwhelmingly the feedback is positive. Some opportunities that are reflected in there are
Sorry, I think I just printed.
oh, just for me. Oh, thank you.
There's one extra.
Oh, I can pass mine around too. Sorry, didn't realize it's just for me. So, as I mentioned, the accessibility of all of the tents, given their tent placement, something to consider for next year. There was a call out for non-denominational booths and areas of information because there were a lot of religious communities represented. There was a request verbally for more kid activities because so many kids were invested in like learning more and asking questions and like wanted to talk to the people who were manning the booths, which was great. There were engagement. What were some other ones? I think those were the big pieces of feedback, but overall, I think really positive feedback. Representative Desaillier's team came again, so that was really cool. Ken Carlson made some opening remarks, and so did Mayor Nowak, and they did it in the area of the band. So kind of like almost immediate feedback from Juneteenth as everyone could hear, which was great. The band was fantastic, and even though they weren't LGBTQ plus related, it just created like a really jubilant celebration and feeling. We got a lot of good feedback. The band was really close to all the booths, so that there was some feedback about it was a little too loud. But I think overall people were just really pleased to see a Pride event in the city, and because of our awesome partner in Off the Grid, it was relatively low lift for all of us. As I mentioned, everyone brought their own table and canopies, and we did have an Excel grid where everyone shared what they were going to be doing, so there's no repeat stuff. There was a lot of like swag given out, and that was good. What was I going to say? So yeah, I think lots of good learnings. It was easy to do. I would highly recommend we do it again for future community celebrations, inviting people or organizations to host their own booths and kind of just do it by themselves and just take advantage of the great partners that are Off the Grid is. I think that's pretty much it. It'd be great to have more people from the commission participate next time, but I know summer's hard and all of that.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's good. And then Lyon has a note. Do you want to talk about the Park and Rec note that you had included, Lyon?
Yeah, just simply that staff is under the impression anyway that Brecken Park is going to take on a Pride celebration next year. They have still on the agenda that upcoming multicultural event, which is a first timer for them. So they're really putting all their focus on that, but they will be ready to engage in conversations about Pride after that time.
Sorry, so Brecken Park, they're working on their multicultural event, so they're not gonna focus on Pride for next year.
Well, Pride is next June, right? Whereas their multicultural one is
Coming up in September.
September, yeah. So they're planning right now and working on doing multicultural. And it was only, I think, at a recent meeting where they had agreed that they will take on the Pride celebration for next year. So
Next year,
for June,
26.
you're correct. Yeah. Yeah. So there's no information yet about what is that going to be, what will that
Okay.
look like is what I'm saying.
Did you want to work with, or are they gonna take on everything, or?
Well, so everything is nothing. Yeah, to be determined is better.
They're
way to
asking
phrase that.
us not to do our own.
Not that at all. So, the Diversity Commission is more than welcome to engage with Rec and Park. And if you all decide in this meeting or in a future one that you're wanting to be involved in a Pride celebration in some way, this year it was just one person, right? And we asked at 2 meetings plus via email. No one was able. Yeah, like literally no one was available, right, to join Liz in the effort. And so if the Diversity Commission believes that next year and in future years on an ongoing basis, that would be different, you all at any meeting can decide, or agendize discussion about Pride planning. But Rec and Park, the city is working on sort of reaffirming Rec and Park is the event entity, right? That's what they do. Whereas that's not the city's business necessarily. So, any commission who wants to participate in having a booth or co-facilitating, it's totally welcome.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Any question?
Great job.
Oh, thanks. Thank
Thank
you.
you for
Yeah.
presenting that.
Yeah.
And it is, I know there's a comment saying like get non-religious
Mhm.
organizations to be part of it, but it is really nice how many religious organizations show up. Like they've been pretty consistent participants in our events. So it's kind of a cool
Yeah,
community.
no, on the flip side of that feedback, I also heard that so many people said they had no idea that all of these religious organizations were so welcoming to the community. So that was like overwhelmingly positive in
Yeah.
the other feedback bucket. So, I
Great.
think we could do both.
I think we keep inviting them.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, moving on to proclamations and observances. Given that Jana had taken over managing the calendar in Wood, anybody like to take that duty?
This commission is growing smaller if people do the offering. I can take it.
So although, the staff liaison for the Commission on Aging said that she manages it. So if it feels comfortable, I'm happy to. I just don't know if that is something that helps you all feel more autonomous, that one of you is managing the calendar, if it actually feels more helpful that I would manage it. And I have no,
But manage it, you would like just prepare this and then remind people when deadlines are due, or what is managing?
so I don't know that that's necessarily happening currently. And so really, however you all say that you want the experience to feel, if you're giving that direction to me, I'm here to take it, is what I'm saying. And if somebody else wants it, that's wonderful and welcome too. I just wanted to also throw that.
Yeah, I'm happy to take it. No biggie. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll take it.
What does NSA mean on the calendar?
I think it's National Suicide Awareness. We had decided.
Oh, got it, okay.
Heritage one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were supposed to,
Great.
right?
Okay, so we are new on something soon.
Okay, when's that due, the proclamation?
Is it for the August 4th meeting?
It was like September.
So it's usually the Friday before,
The end of August.
so September 5th.
Okay. Is when the meeting is or when it's due?
Sorry, the meeting's on the 8th, right? Is that the one you're talking about? The September 8th city council meeting?
Mm-hmm.
So the proclamation's due on the 5th.
Okay,
September, okay.
we got time.
We're doing it.
When is the receiving of it?
September 8th.
Should we have a Outlook deadline coming up?
Yes. Out today, so I'll put a note for myself to email you all on
Okay.
deadlines.
And we can kind of think about what, whether that's a Juneteenth wrap up, perhaps thanking our sponsors.
That's, yeah, I think.
Liz and I,
Are there any rules about including photos? Could you have so many great photos?
I know we can do some, but not very many. I'm not,
Close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just we're only given our 250 words though.
Yeah.
So we would have to get a special dispensation to get a photo too. Can always ask.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe they can put it on that, what's it called, the bulletin board?
can we thank our sponsors on the big board and include photos?
There, I mean, I know there are images. Have we seen a photo? There are photos on that, right? Am I making that
Yeah,
up?
there's some photos.
Okay.
It's not a new board.
I mean, the digital board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we did thank our sponsors on there. all
We
the-
did.
Yeah, the whole month of June.
Actually, you know what? We have, but they should still get a thank you. But
Yeah, of
we-
course,
we-
but
yeah, that's true. We have.
that's part of the package,
Yeah.
actually.
Well, yeah.
Just planting a seed for next year as well, if we're gonna, we took a lot of family pictures and they were posted, and I hope no one said anything about it, but do we do media consent or anything on poster releases? Easy way to do this is next time we do a social media graphic on it, just putting it as like a note, like we will be taking pictures at this event if you would like not to be, you know, sign this form type thing and identify throughout. We do events and we do this, people that don't want pictures usually wear like a yellow dot or some type of a dot that says that they're not wanting pictures released. So that's just a word.
Thank you.
Looking at what else is on the calendar, is there any need to get further ahead than we are right now?
I think the events you want to discuss around that, then the.
All right, well then, moving on to, event volunteer request. National Night Out, the Police Department. August 5th.
I mean, they're doing their national night out the night before school starts.
Oh, that's right.
Like, let's all get out and then wake up. Yeah.
That's very complicated.
Yep.
It's okay, just keep them up. The teachers can take care of them.
Be out all night.
I know.
We're like, two of us were supposed to be tabling there.
I mean, they're hoping folks will do that.
Have we committed to that already or no?
We've been talking, struggling, in support of it for months. I don't know that, yeah, we've formally committed no names at this point.
Okay.
What does it all entail? What are we being asked to do? Just a table of booth?
Did you say what is the ask?
What is the ask?
Stable booth, and I believe what was discussed was that you all would have the Everyone Belongs pledge there, and that you would be giving United Against Hate Week flyers, depending on whatever is determined about United Against Hate Week.
So it would be our own booth, or we would just volunteer to be on the city booth?
It would be your own booth.
Same, okay.
The rep from PD who's organizing the event happened to send an email today asking if any of the commissions were sharing a booth. So I am happy to respond to her tomorrow and say that is a preference, if that's the case. The Education Commission responded today that they aren't going to do a booth.
Are any of the other commissions doing
I don't know, not that I'm aware of, but I will double check. And my understanding is that, and I don't know the reason behind it, maybe to just be inclusive, but this was a specific invitation that came to the Diversity Commission from the PD.
What of the, like, if we don't want to plan an activity, one of the events we did, we got like books related to, children's books related to diversity, and we just had them out. And that was kind of a nice thing for a table, like if we don't want to plan anything.
I think we found from another event that having books on the table is a
Only
little
people
hard to
wanna take
manage because
them.
people want to take them.
Yeah.
So just for what it's worth.
What is the time commitment for August for the event?
Yeah, she say up here.
It's a work event that day, and I'm trying to see if I can-
6 to 8. And you can, we would need to set up our own booth anytime after 4.
6 to 8.
So we bring our own fence chairs.
Although, this is on a non-holiday, so I could just put in a work order and the maintenance team would set up the canopy that is more about, you all would set up the table, whatever your plans.
Is it here?
It's all across the.
Oh, gotcha.
Was it, did we block off a street for National Night Out one year?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't recall seeing it, yeah, on the grass.
I can do this on the from 6 to 8. I just need some support on what we want to put out and things, if anyone else wants to join me, but I think I can do it.
Do we need some, does, what we want to do is it all impacted about what our community conversations is doing about United Against Hate? We need to have that conversation first. Do you want to jump to that? Table this PD's night out?
So I'm not signing up for it then, is that what
No,
you're
no,
saying?
no, I'm just saying.
Like, what's happening?
And we're not wed to this, but what Maya and I could accurately put it out is that one of the things we at least said we would do at National Night Out as our tabling activity would be potentially promoting whatever it is we're gonna do for national, United Against Hate. So if the answer is nothing, then we can come back, we can have this conversation right now about what we are gonna do. But if Community Conversations Subcommittee has ideas about United Against Hate Week and what we will be doing, and is it right to have something ready by August 5th?
To then table up.
We can table this piece until that subcommittee can talk.
I mean-
That's a tall order. August 5th is.
And we're talking,
Yeah.
this is 3 weeks ago.
Getting out of that.
Which is why I'm thinking keep it simple.
Yeah.
And
We had,
maybe collect topics. I can collect topics from people that they want to talk about. That could be like, an information like community.
Just
feedback.
We get Juneteenth feedback
Yeah, suggestions.
and Pride,
Yeah.
Juneteenth and Pride feedback. What do they want for next year?
we had, when we first designed our logo, we had these coloring sheets where people like would color in the tree with all the words. We could do that, and just like something for the kids.
Kind of leery about manning one table alone and running activities and talking to people unless
Yeah.
we're gonna have like many people on that table, so I wanna keep it simple.
Mhm.
And so if there's information gathering or talking, that's one thing. If it's running an activity, it's another thing. I don't think I can.
Is
do
anybody
both.
else here in May? I'm out of town. Is anybody else here even in maybe?
Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah.
So we got,
Yeah, okay, let's do us. All right.
we got two commits then, so we're having a table and we're
It's a Friday?
It's a
Monday.
Tuesday or Monday, something.
Tuesday.
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 It's
So,
Tuesday, okay.
so if I
Okay,
understand
yeah,
you
it's on-
correctly.
Yep.
Someone would be able to put a tent up for us or a table. Do we have diversity commission, like,
It'll be a city.
linens and stuff like that?
Mhm. Either it'll be plain green or plain white, or it'll say City of Pleasant Park, but
Okay.
there will be.
So it'll just be.
Yeah.
Okay. And then take down, would someone else take down the stuff as well?
Usually help.
That's what a city picks up.
Yeah, and if you're not able to help because of your injury,
Won't be able to.
Yeah,
Okay, so. Learn that. Okay.
Okay, so I like the idea of coloring sheets and I like the idea for asking for feedback. Is that something that we should I can mock up a worksheet and then we can have a place for people to put their feedback versus just people telling us verbally? Should I mock that up?
When you're saying, so yes, and are you thinking of, some paper ones for people to fill out, or are you thinking of the QR code?
I was thinking paper. I should probably think.
I'm thinking
Like
QR code.
code, yeah.
And then either, and then people fill
Totally.
out and we get an Excel spreadsheet out of it already generated. You wanna take that offline and you and I can work on that?
I love that, yes.
There's, for the coloring sheets, I don't know if they kept the file, but there was it was the logo and then all the color was out of it.
We have to do this for.
No, I just like,
I just am hearing all this stuff about papers flying from
No,
like Juneteenth and I'm listening what
People
that's
come
gonna
up-
look like.
people come up with their kids, so like sometimes it's better for them to be distracted, like while parents are talking to you, but.
We could do it. It's
Something to
okay.
think about.
Yeah,
But you don't, like, you could just do the feedback
yeah.
and then talk.
I remember what the first event was that was this a girl?
That was the light up the night, the first year.
And I've already told my husband to help us to, so that's.
Same.
Yeah, so we'll have more people.
Yeah, we're good.
All right.
My daughter's always around.
No, that's- he's getting the calendar invite right now.
Okay, cool.
Okay, anything else to discuss on night out? All right, moving on to the Rec Park District inaugural multicultural community celebration. Saturday, September 3rd.
Is it September 3rd or 13th?
Two of you have out there the map and that, oh no, wait, that's National Night Out. Isn't it?
I'd love that map if you ever has that. Yeah. It's right here. I will lose the papers. Most of it I think, but- Snook,
It's gotta be, yeah, the 3rd is a Wednesday, so it's gotta be the
It
13th.
says the 13th.
Sorry, so I misspoke. Saturday, September 13th.
But they didn't, there's a time on it?
Have a time yet? I'm not sure if they have a time.
So they wanna help identifying cultural performers, community members who wanna participate. And then if we wanted a booth with a family-friendly, hands-on activity or connecting with the local organization who would do that,
So,
or volunteering on the day of the event.
I could definitely connect them with Ferris Coates, who does the about the band, because he has access to a whole bunch of different bands.
Cool.
I can also, I know my wife, she's worked with a variety of different groups from the different Valley View Multicultural Nights, from lion dancers to drummers to martial arts performers, et cetera, et cetera. So I can connect, who's the,
Liz?
Hmm?
Is Liz, or?
So there's Jen,
Jen Hoyt.
and then
And-
there's another email from someone named Liz Harrison, the special events coordinator, and then Jen is marketing events. Sorry, I'm just looking at
No,
it.
that's perfect, thank you.
And Jen was my neighbor, unfortunately.
I know, I mean, Creed knows knows Jen, but I can just connect them and they can, I know she can talk to them. She can talk to whatever types of groups.
But, I mean, could we put together a list of, we could put together a list of people who performed at like Juneteenth and Pride, and then the list of vendors we've invited.
You know, reply book right here.
Yeah, totally. We have an easy spreadsheet with their contact info and everything. We could easily share that.
And the same with
Are you guys
Juneteenth.
sharing that? Yeah.
I think they have a budget they can kind of figure out whatever on that side, but they're just looking for contacts.
Yeah, and once they have like times, everyone. You just sign up for a little bit. It'll depend on when my kid's soccer game is that day. But,
Yeah, baseball.
yeah,
So should we work through you or directly with them to pass on information, Lamb?
I think either works. I'm happy to create like a table of past performers and you all might need to fill in some of the
Oh, yeah.
blanks about what the contact information
Okay,
is.
that'd be perfect.
All of that, and then I'm happy to pass that on to them.
Okay.
and maybe you can connect them with like, if they don't have a connection to the night market folks.
Oh, great point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause they probably have a lot more.
Yep.
Yeah, I can host a mahjong table or something,
Oh, that'd be
whatever.
cool.
you know. I just need them, we just need to know like what. I don't know that we have like a family-friendly diversity commission activity, 'cause we're out of that soil, or it's pretty dry.
Yeah.
Carson,
Yes.
I guess maybe it can be agendized for a future meeting because we'd be deciding on a purchase, but just a heads up that you all are almost out of the stickers. No, almost out of the decals, but you're definitely out of the stickers, right? So just something else.
Yeah. Let's,
Babysit, like everyone.
And then,
oh,
Nice, that'd be nice for us to have.
Yeah.
and the people from the first couple of years have a t-shirt too. So like half the commission doesn't have a t-shirt.
I don't have a t-shirt.
I don't have a t-shirt.
Nope, that's too-
Is anybody who's here? Do you have a t-shirt?
He wore it, now.
I didn't.
I mean, I just like that took us like months to agree on a logo and to agree on a I remember like hours which is ridiculous, but I feel like you guys should all have a t-shirt after we.
I love our logo.
Lyon,
Mm-hmm.
will there, I think there, I had heard potential discussion of a little bit more on budget. So when you table at different groups, events.
Yeah, I think that is a commission-wide hot topic right now, which is kind of where I was going to with that feedback from Juneteenth, is that there were more commissions who participated this year and they all bought their own supplies with their money, and some of them feel like that was money well spent, and some of them, have an issue with that. So staff liaisons continue to bring that to the city manager's attention, and
Yeah, let's add budget as our first item under ad hoc subcommittees. Because that's where we tend to spend the most. So it seems most reasonable there.
And just as a heads up to everyone, the city manager, for the first time in a long time, is on vacation, so he'll be gone for about 3 weeks. So any requests. I would be on.
I did see him at Juneteenth and he looked pretty pleased.
Anything else on this item?
So next steps are the list, and then by putting that together that you're starting and we can look at and add on to. And then getting back to us with like the time. Okay.
Moving on to ad hoc subcommittee updates. First item, of course, is the dissolution of the 2025 Juneteenth ad hoc subcommittee. As the event is passed, the commission needs to dissolve the committee. We will see if there is a motion in a second for that shortly. We can choose to revote on a new committee immediately. We can punt to a slightly later meeting to begin discussing it again. I wouldn't punt it too far, but if we wanted to give ourselves a month or two
I would
off.
prefer to wait till there's more people here to volunteer,
Miserable.
but.
I mean, it does sound like they're still like wrapping up a couple things.
Yeah, we are.
officially.
So you don't, this group doesn't even want to dissolve. There's not even a motion to dissolve.
They still have to write the Outlook article, like they're gonna still be discussing.
thank you notes.
They still need to be able to email each other, right?
Yeah, and I don't think, and I think, we could do it either way. We could dissolve it, or you could do it still in your capacity as a member of this commission rather than as a member of the subcommittee.
Well, can you email each other without,
Any members less than, yeah, can email each
Okay.
other.
So we can email each other for that.
Okay.
That was gonna be my next ask, is did we just form a committee?
Yeah.
okay, then
I just wanna be
We
very-
Yes, it is.
Very good.
What? Cut.
That we just form a committee.
Goodness, I put it in the notes.
Move that. So no motion this time. We'd like to hold off till next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Community conversations.
Lloyd and I have not taken a breath since our meds, so we do need
Nobody blamed
to,
you.
yeah, we need to reconvene. We have no update. Sorry.
Great.
I'm assuming we'll have topics for you all from.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
Since
perfect.
planning may be easier for topics. I did go to the library and saw the space and planted the seed that we'd be wanting to do community conversations there, and they were really open to it, so.
Okay, great.
Something.
Any discussion based on that? Okay. The next item was going to be an update from Frida on Community Service Day. Proposals are due August 22nd, which is 3 days before our next meeting, or on or about.
did she send any?
She did not.
I don't think, oh, go ahead, sorry.
She didn't double check.
She's, she had a couple organizations she was
Yeah.
reaching out to.
I'm sorry, she did send something. Let me read it to you. I have reached out to the few groups that are waiting for their confirmation. Safe Refuge for Children and Family, they have a walkathon event happening on the 27th that needs help. Detroit went with Fairhaven Church. So Safe Refuge is asking if it's okay to link to the church. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't just be volunteering or individual capacity. City issues. There's the Choice and Aging. They're interested, but they have to check with the CSAC and we'll get back to us. Contra Costa Humane Society is full. Looks like they're full of their volunteering list. Contra Costa Foster Friends, they're welcoming volunteers to volunteer at their store. But Saturday morning is also their store hours, so they're checking out their storage unit to help if anybody wants to volunteer sorting out donations. And Special Olympics, they didn't really have much showing on their volunteering calendar. But she will provide an update next week that Lion can probably distribute.
And sorry, the deadline is when around our meeting?
It's like 3 days after.
3 days after. Sorry, the deadline is 3 days after our
After the
meeting.
meeting.
Oh, okay, well, that's good. Not enough time, but,
Yeah.
you know.
And it sounds like she's exploring options that are not necessarily on Community Service Day. And so what she's looking at is, what she appears to have been doing is trying to marry up the day with needy organizations, but some of those don't necessarily marry up.
So what I know I don't think any official projects have come in yet. For Community Service Day. That I know of. Oh, well, that was last week, so maybe sometime. So we have to decide what our group wants to do. And my second thought is letting those folks know that they can also participate in general. If they want to do their own project for Community Service Day. I was gonna say the same thing. But, yes. A few Mitchell's out there.
Yes, so do the five of us want to commit the team sort of to something in mass? Do you want to stand by and see if Frida gets more information or a more specific desire or request?
Or is there something that we can do that's very city specific that we can just support?
I would like to wait and see what Frida is recommending, and then Lyon's gonna send it to us next week. Is that what I
Yes,
understand?
yeah.
Okay. Since Frida's been working on it, I'd love to, give her the benefit of, all this research she's doing and reach out and then make a decision based on that.
But that's still time before
Yeah.
we make a final.
Yeah,
Well, we'd have to, so we get the email next week, but we wouldn't have another meeting until after it's due, right?
No, just before.
Just
I mean,
before.
just before.
Oh, okay.
So we'd have-
so so if we decide next week, based on her email, how we want to participate, do we then need to get the word out? Or is it just for us to participate?
It would depend on what that took, because we don't
Yeah.
have. I would be surprised if we wanted to call an ad hoc meeting, for the
Yeah.
purposes of making a decision on this one discrete item prior to our August meeting. But we can't do voting over email. We can have information passed back and forth via Lyon, to conform with the Brown Act. And so we could express, she could collect our interests and our individual responses.
But the meeting is before when the project's due, so we could like decide at the meeting and then still
So there
participate.
could be some information flow
Okay.
via or the decision at the meeting.
Okay. I think
Unless there
that's-
was something we want to have an ad hoc meeting.
No, I think we could have, like, if there's nothing that is our own project, we could like make a choice to try to show up and like have a representative at a bunch of different projects.
So that,
Wear
yeah,
a name tag.
we could throw all of us at one thing. We could just divide and conquer. All of us are in the community spirit.
I think we wait for her.
Yeah, I think we wait too.
Perfect.
Can you communicate that back to her?
Did we skip Connecticut's hate planning
Yeah, it was part of community conversations. and-
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, then moving on to community liaison reports, Civic Action Commission.
They had a nice meeting, and let's see, talked about.
Apparently they did, apparently they put on Juneteenth.
I mean, if you're right.
What a commission they are. Wow.
Two events back to back in that same week.
I did what I meant.
it was accidentally they.
Parks and Rec, or
Yeah.
Rex and
Oh.
Park gave them credit.
Sorry, I thought they were giving themselves credit. I'm like, that's bold.
So they, at the meeting, they did talk about the, Rec and Park, partnership event. And so they're kind of figuring out what they might do decide in regards to that. Summer concerts have been, great turnouts. They mentioned that even the earlier, concerts that are typically much lighter, they've been much heavier. So, folks are excited, and part of that's probably from, more exposure, bands, great bands, diverse bands. And then of course they do have the more marketing efforts. They have down the street, the big banners with, summer concert series as well. So I think all those helped. Family fun zones are a huge hit. I think they have like 5 nights this year. So people are really excited about that. They did discuss acknowledging some of the volunteers at the October council meeting when they do their presentations, or, making sure that folks know about that. They are checking on the potential of a water truck, perhaps for some, some of the hot days that are coming up in August. That's in discussion. The food trucks have been extremely well received this past year. They're continuing to survey folks, and so that's going well. They do really well. They're continuing to sell. They do have shirts that they're selling because it's their 25th anniversary. Yeah, so they have that. One situation that came up. They're going to add a specific free speech zone, because I guess There's been some concerts where some folks have, handed out flyers, and sometimes they've been asked. So they just want to make sure that they're giving ample opportunity for all organizations and voices to be heard. And so they're going to have a specific free speech area where those folks, whether it's pamphlets or flyers or taking names, et cetera, will have. They did talk about Juneteenth. They thought it was, they really enjoyed. They got good exposure. Unfortunately, it was super windy, but we talked about that as well. About that, but overall, they said it was really great. Talked a little bit about Community Service Day. So at the time, they hadn't received any projects, but there will be coming into fruition. They're doing the another food donation drop, so that's going to be happening. They talked about some senior cleanup potentials, and then they're going to be working on their Outlook article for next article. So,
Questions, comments?
Attendance, great.
Commission on Aging.
I did not have a chance to watch the YouTube video or attend. Their meeting was Thursday, but I can send notes if that's okay.
Free to have the Education Commission, so nothing else there. Moving on to announcements. Earlier, as I mentioned, Commissioner Thompson resigned. She came to us, I believe, late 2022, early 2023. Immediately made an impact. Has been a high contributing, high volunteering member of this commission for over 2 years at this point. Came in with ideas, came in with energy, and she will certainly be missed. Anybody else who'd like to say something, please do.
I mean, she was a huge contributor to Juneteenth last year and this year. So she was co-chair last year, and she was, kind of stepped in and filled in a whole bunch of different blanks this past year. So she's awesome. She's awesome to hear. Do we acknowledge or outgoing commissioners?
We don't do it to all outgoing commissioners, but in the case that somebody had asked, we can send her the invitation to be recognized in an upcoming city council meeting if she feels like she wants to show up for that. And I'm happy to keep you all updated if she does take them up on it, because that'd be a cool thing for whoever can to attend.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Does this mean that we hold elections again, or how does this process?
Thanks for asking, sorry. Because her position is one of the ones that her term would have ended in September, there won't be a search until that time to do a fresh 4-year term. So we will be down in position now through September. So it's 3 meetings, but there's some work in between that you all do, events and stuff.
I am also supposed to be terming off in September, and considering what that would mean if I do choose to come back or not. Like, I don't know what the process looks like. Do I have to interview again, or?
Juanita will end up engaging you.
Okay.
Times coming up so that you can make that decision. We did, I don't know if you want to say, we happen to have had it on last month's agenda to look at the term expirations, and there's a couple additional who are also, their time is coming.
Okay, thank you.
Fresh faces come in September, no matter what.
I just wanted to echo what both Lloyd and Carson said about Jana, and just to add that, when I joined the commission, I've never done this before, and I learned a lot from watching how she participated in this. She always pushed, and I think in the right way, and made sure that we always acted in the spirit of what the commission was intended to be, and I really admired her for that. So I just wanted to echo that and honestly thank her for all of her contributions because she made a huge impact.
All right, just want to remind the commission that Police Captain Christic will be joining us at the August meeting to check in and answer any law enforcement related questions. So have your comments and questions prepared. Any other announcements before we adjourn? All right, thank you for participating in tonight's meeting. The time is 8:00 p.m. We're now adjourned to our next regular meeting, Tuesday, August 19th, 2025.